Hello YouTube. I'm going to take the opportunity today to talk to you all about the Maxim Defense PDX weapon that I picked up a few months back. I've wanted one of these for a while, and since they came out they were pretty hard to come by. And I recently transitioned almost all of my ARs from 5.56 to 300 blackout, and wasn't really interested in purchasing another 5.56. But when I went to a local gun show and stopped by a booth, I seen this weapon on the table, and immediately I thought it was a 5.56 version of this PDX, and thought that I was for sure fixing to buy another 5.56. That's how much I've wanted one of these things. And so I asked to pick it up, and once I got my hands on it, I seen that it is a 7.62 by 3.9 model, and that, you know, I had to have it at that point. The wife wasn't too happy about it, but you know, what can you do? So I grabbed it and came home with it, and immediately you know, took it apart, started checking it out and looking at it, and it's a fairly expensive weapon. I got it there for about $2,000, taxes, everything. It was about $2,200. MSRP on them is around $22.95, I believe, and usually they're back ordered or there's a wait on them. So I have quite a few expectations for a $2,000 weapon. You know, my expectations is that it's pretty plug and play. You shouldn't have to do anything with it other than throw an optic on it, especially this weapon and for what I wanted it for. I wasn't necessarily completely satisfied with the weapon, to be honest with you. My expectations for the weapon is that at that price point that it's pretty much perfect. But there's more things wrong with I have more trouble dealing with this than I have $700 ARs or personal builds. It cost me about 500 bucks. One, I'll give you a rundown on the weapon. So when you buy the weapon, it comes with, Maxim Defense calls it the hate break, and no doubt it looks pretty sexy, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to reduce recoil and move the percussion that comes out of the barrel, you know, downrange away from the shooter, and it does that. For a 7.62 with a 5.5 inch barrel, there's not a whole lot of recoil to it. It's a little rowdy, but it's far more manageable than I would have expected. Like if you've ever shot like an AMD 65 or something, it's nowhere near as much recoil. But this is very loud. It is a very loud weapon, very similar to an AMD 65. It almost sounds like a megaphone, but you know, that makes it more fun to shoot, I believe. It's but I have like some little Walker earbuds, and they do nothing for this. You definitely need to throw on the Walker muffs or the Pelletors, because these don't, those things don't do the trick with it. Moving down the weapon, you have your hand stop. It comes from the factory with this, and you need it for a 5.5 inch barrel. I'm having a hard time saying that. You know, if your hand comes off the front of it, you'd be in a world of trouble. And as you move down the weapon, it has a flared mag well, which makes magazine changes very easy. I love that. It's machined very nice, very clean. It has an ambidextrous safety selector lever. It has a very nice trigger in it. And it has their patented buttstock. It has 4 different lengths, and it has the ability to where if you need to, you could pull it out quickly without depressing the release. And when it's in its closed position, I think you're at about a little less than 19 inches and a little less than 6 pounds. So it's a very compact weapon, something to throw under the seat of your truck, strap onto the back seat, or even throw it in a backpack. It's very easy to move around with. And it's light. And it has a lot of bells and whistles that come with it. It also comes with a Radian Raptor charging handle. A very nice bolt comes with it. Altogether a nice weapon. It even comes with a Reptilia grip that actually feels pretty nice even without the goon tape on it. One of the downfalls of the weapon, in my opinion, is that it comes with these metal mags. And these Duramags, I mean, they feel even cheaper than mags I used in the military. They're pretty flimsy. They rattle. They make noise. And when I first got the weapon, I stuck an empty mag in and started doing some drills with it and moving around with it, and it would drop the mags. They would just fall out of it. It wouldn't lock in, and that could be due to several different reasons. So I started checking the mag catch and how it was adjusted, and it seemed to be fine. And then I started looking at the mags, and it appeared that on the side of the mags, the metal was pressed in. So I did a little, screwdriver and bent it back into place, and it worked great after that. But then when you go to the range with them and you start doing mag changes and you're switching them out and you're training with it, they just bend again, and you start dropping mags when you don't want to. That is problematic. I'll be happy when and if they come out with some type of polymer mag or a better made magazine than this one. Because if I could throw these away, I would. But it's the only thing that this weapon takes at the time. So this is one of the biggest downfalls of the weapon. I don't know why you would do this much R&D into this weapon and not at least make some decent mags to go with it. But I've bought several different mags from Maxim Defense. I've called them and talked to them, and this is the only mag they say that will accommodate this weapon. And that they have far less problems and issues with the 20 rounders than they do the 30 rounders. So I bought several more 20 round mags from them, and they all do the same thing. So I would say that is the biggest downfall of the weapon. 2, she's pretty picky. Like when I think 7.62 in my mind, obviously, I want to compare it to an AK, and I can throw any type of rounds at that AK, and it's just going to eat them. It's hungry for everything. this thing is a drama queen. If you throw like Yugoslavian 7.62 by 3.9 brass case ammo in it, she'll have a failure to eject and feed every 3 or 4 rounds. It becomes very frustrating. So when I first took her to the range, that was what I bought. Ammo was very expensive at the time, and I found a case of that for around $700. So I bought a case of it and took it to the range, and it wouldn't cycle for nothing. So I was very disappointed after 3 or 4 mags of that stuff. But then I pulled out what I thought to be was the cheap toll ammo, and it cycles this stuff perfectly. So I have more expensive Hornady, you know, ammo and things that she cycles perfectly. She cycles this toll ammo perfectly, but like brass cased Russian Yugoslavian ammo, she doesn't like it. And that's a problem for me, because I got this thing in 7.62 because like 5.56, probably not as much as 5.56, but if something hits the fan and you have to go out and you're scavenging for ammo, 7.62 by 3.9 is pretty easy to come by. It doesn't matter how easy it is to come by if the weapon you have is picky with the ammo that it utilizes. I have a few Kimbers that are the same way. They're very picky on the type of ammo that they'll cycle. You get the right ammo and it fires surgically, but without the right ammo, it does not. And that's what this thing, she's a very picky eater. So, magazine is a big con for me. The type, you have to be somewhat picky with the ammo. That's a second con for me. But I do think there's more pros to the weapon than there are cons. I mean, the size of it is amazing. You could do so much with it. It's easy to shoulder. I threw this Trijicon MRO in there. That's one of my favorite optics. I have several of them on several different weapons, and it's my go-to optic. It makes it easy to mount other attachments without them getting in the way. And for anybody wondering, it's Trijicon MRO Steiner Optics D-Ball I2 IR illuminator, and these are just your Magpul offset backup iron sights. And overall, she's a sexy weapon, and when you figure out your ammo issue, it shoots great. Groupings on it are amazing. And I've only put probably 1,000 rounds through it at this point. And once I got, like I said, once I got ammo figured out, she shot much better. Now my only real complaint is the mags, because when you go out and you start shooting and you're having a good time, and you get through 3 or 4 mags, it'll just start dropping the mags. So then you have to stop, do some field craft on your magazines to get them back where they need to be to continue shooting. That's not something you want to have to do if you're in the middle of a firefight or an operation, and then your mags bend, and you have to switch out mags, and that's a whole mag of ammo that you're no longer able to use. So that's pretty significant in my opinion. So like I said, I made this video just to give you some information if you were thinking about buying you a Maxim Defense PDX. I have seen other videos with the 300 blackout model where they had some problems with gas escaping through the system, through the handguard. you know, to the point where it would leave your hands black or burn some people's hands. But Maxim says that they've corrected that on newer models of their 300 blackout. I haven't noticed anything like that with this. And I think if I had paid $1,000 for this weapon, I'd be far more happy with it. But when you pay $2,200 for a weapon and it's not amazing in every way, you have a problem. I bought some Spike's tactical weapons around the same price point that were flawless, with no issues at all. And maybe if you bought this weapon in 5.56 that would accommodate PMags, you'd have a much better experience than I've had. But all that to say, this is still my primary weapon. This is part of my primary kit. If something happens, this will be what I grab, because I have the experience with it to know the problem with the magazines. And whenever I go to the range and train with it, I come back and while I'm pulling maintenance, I get the magazines back the way they need to be. Not something I feel you should have to do, but it's something you have to do with this. That's all I got. Hope it helps someone.